We would love also.
Yes,
yeah,
nice,
we
but
get
why not?
the team as well.
Okay, cameras are rolling, sound is on. Let's do it.
I'm on my 4th week now at Hygraph. My first week, if I'm looking back there, was really fun. I'm working in partnerships, as I said, so on top of kind of meeting people at Hygraph, I got to meet a partner on my first Friday. We had brunch here in Berlin, which is always a nice thing and a nice social event. It was a fun first week. People have been really helpful and great that I got that opportunity.
There is a lot of things that make our team special, especially being a very small team, but it is the drive and the passion that every single representative has, and that is what you need in every sales team, and as a leader for me that makes my job a lot easier.
I was still in university at the time. Our colleague Jonas, who was employee number 1, tried to convince me all the time to join Graph CMS back then as well. One day after university I kind of set up a meeting between me, Michael and Daniel. Afterwards I went over. We were still in like a really small accelerator office, which was typically shared, but we were kind of the only ones there, so it was actually a nice office for us. And we talked a little bit about like why they built Graph CMS, or now called Hygraph, what they kind of want to build it to, right, their vision for it. They told me a little bit where they need help with, and so I just told them a little bit what I typically do in university, and being more of the little bit of a planner, they really liked that, and I pretty much immediately started with like my first task there.
Actually, the office is 5 minutes, 10 minutes biking from my home, and I love it a lot because I can also work from home when I feel a bit lazy, and I just even work remotely when I'm visiting my family. I like a lot coming to the office, especially Booster. He loves to come to the office because he has so much space to run, and people are so friendly and love to play with him, and he definitely brings puppy vibes to the office.
There are a lot of fun memories, especially in the early few months that I joined. I very vividly remember that during the weekdays, it was just a lot of hard work. But then we used to do this Friday drinks after the work, finishing your week on a very positive note, chilling with people. We had like a very small terrace. I think the office was so small and it was like a home. That is why it gave this homely vibe, and it didn't really feel like you are at work.
My favorite ones is the karaoke nights that we have been doing. One exactly in this room in the office on the last Christmas party, when basically the whole team chimed in and we were singing all of the typical karaoke songs, all fun. And obviously our offsite last year in Gran Canaria, especially the boat party there, where we were basically partying and dancing for hours on this huge boat and sailing across the sea. That was absolute fun event, especially with the banana boat and everything, everybody having fun. That was great.
I joined last year and it was the Valentine's Day actually. My first week was really nice because the onboarding was perfectly planned. I met a lot of my teammates. A month after that, we had an offsite in Gran Canaria, Spain. I got to meet a lot of people face to face, so it was great because when you're working remotely, it's just hard to connect, but the offsite was the perfect environment for me to do that.
One story I really like to tell often when people ask me that is how we met our first employee, Jonas. We met in our public Slack community, so all users of Graph CMS back then got an invite to the Slack community, and he joined our Slack. He had a feature request. He wanted to have union types in our platform, but we got into the conversation, and at some point he would ask us, where are you guys located? Are you from San Francisco, or are you from Berlin, maybe London? And I told Jonas, no, we're located in Gießen. And he would say, are you kidding me? I'm from Dutenhofen, that's close to Gießen. So he was just 20 minutes away. A couple of days later, we would meet for an interview. A few weeks later, he would join the company as a first employee, and he's still with us. Later on, he would build the feature himself that he requested in our Slack community.
I work as a part of 2 teams. The first is the design team where I sit, and on a day-to-day basis, I collaborate with the marketing team. There's people from different functions, someone handling products, someone handling content. It's interesting how we come up with different processes to make sure that we are collaborating very efficiently and making sure we are delivering things on time and everything is planned out well in advance. What's been more interesting interesting is that the last 2 weeks I've been in Germany, and the last week I was a part of the marketing on-site where we got to meet each other for the first time in person, and we got to work on a lot of different strategies. So it was really cool to collaborate with them. This week we are in Marburg working on the design on-site, and again it's been interesting to work on a lot of new features, which I think it's better since we are working together in person and not just sitting in front of our screens. So it's been really cool.
I think the best thing of being a co-founder and building a company is seeing the team grow. It's amazing to see amazing people joining the company and learning from them. At the same time, it's quite challenging to keep up with all the ongoing changes because the product and the tech stack is changing so frequently. It's hard to keep track of that, which can be quite frustrating from time to time. The first full-time hire we made back then was an engineer from India. Now the engineering team spans across the entire globe from Argentina to India, and we never changed that because in the end it's an endless talent pool, which is great for the company.
How I structure my day.
Typically, I wake up in the morning and do all my personal stuff. I take care of my son, my wife, get my son off to school.
If I'm in Shanghai, then I get to spend some quality time with my parents during the morning because they're morning persons.
When I'm in Berlin, I usually travel to the office and my day starts with a cup of coffee from our amazing coffee machine.
I usually start my day around 9 a.m. I like to have all the meetings in the morning so I can have and do deep work in the afternoon when I have more quiet time.
When I'm in Barcelona, I usually work from 9 until 6. I guess that's the most typical. If I work from Asia, then I usually start working from after lunch and then I finish midnight. That way I get to do the things that I like in the morning, so yoga and surf, which is not something that you can do after 6 p.m. One good thing about working from home is that then I get to give a lot of company to my cat.
And then I sit down and I take a review of what's happening in our community. That's our Slack community. That's places like Stack Overflow. Really try to get a pulse on what's happening. And then I dive into whatever my work for that day is. Working through strategy and hiring, working through new content, preparing presentations for conferences or for meetups or that sort of thing.
But sometimes I take rather long trips to Southeastern Asia, where I am right now. And here my day starts really differently. And I really like to use this time for some uninterrupted work, focused work, sort of to get into that flow state. And then I meet my colleagues sort of in the middle of my day, at the beginning of their day. Yeah, I guess this is the perks of this remote culture.
I live in a small town in Brazil and I really enjoy that Hygraph allows us to have a really good work-life balance. If I need to go to the gym, for example, in some specific time during the day, I really like that you have this flexibility to go and do everything that you need without being worried that someone's gonna be texting you on Slack, and that's really good.
Thank you and have a nice day.